Today we're going to start a new kind of series. It's going to be called I Love Jesus. And I do. Just being honest, like I really love Jesus. And I always get excited to talk about that. And the whole thing started like, I was thinking, like sometimes we get so involved in this church culture and in this whole, just activities or lack of activities, and we lose sight of why we do this or who we do this for. So I was, all right, Christmas is coming, and this is not going to be like a Christmas thing, but what is Christmas about? Jesus, right? Jesus' birth. So, like, I would like to go deep on, okay, why did he have the need to come in the first place? So we're going to dig into it. And it's I Love Jesus. And we're going to find out together why people liked Jesus back then. Like, why people was expecting Jesus. Then once he came, how come, why people loved him? Because people were crazy about him. And then once he died and rose up and went to heaven, how come till today people around the world still love Jesus? What is it about him? Why were they so in love with him? How come they were so crazy? So we're gonna read about that. We're gonna study about that. We're gonna discuss about all that. So I think we asked this one before, but when does Jesus show up in this whole play called the human race history? When did Jesus show up for the first time?
He was born.
Anyone else? Another guess? When did Jesus show up for the first time in this movie? That's let's call it a movie. The movie of our lives, our history. Is it the manger, the first appearance of Jesus?
No.
No. When was the first appearance? Maybe in an echo? Maybe the doctor was married? Huh? Around Christmas time? Okay. Let me read you this. If you have a Bible, you can go with me to John, the Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 1. Alright? Now, let me pull myself, my version 2 up so I can read this from a more known version. So again, John 1, it says like this. I'm going to read from the New Living Translation. It says, in the beginning, the Word already existed. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. He existed in the beginning with God. God created everything through Him, and nothing was created except through Him. So He's trying to make Himself very clear. Nothing was created except through Him, through the Word. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness can never extinguish it. God sent a man, John the Baptist, to tell about the light so that everyone might believe because of his testimony. John himself was not the light, so just make everyone clear about that. He was a great guy, but he was not the light. He was simply a witness to tell about the light. The one who is the true light, who gives light to everyone, was coming into the world. So now he goes from the world already existed and has been there like forever, and now he moves forward to, well, the Word who existed is coming into the world. So he's announcing the birth of Jesus at this point. It says, He came into the very world, He created it. So who created the world? The light, the Word. But the world didn't recognize Him. He came to His own people, and even they rejected him. But to all who believed him and accepted him, he gave the right to become children of God. Now, very small parenthesis, but this is huge. You know how people say like, oh yeah, everybody's son of God or daughter of God? No. Like, not every single person in this world, just because they breathe and exist, means that they are children of God. Like John says it right here. To all who believe him and accept him, those have the right to become children of God. So if you don't believe him, if you don't accept him, then you don't, right? Pretty clear. So just want to throw that in there. It says, they are reborn, not with a physical birth resulting from human passion or plan. Like not because your mom and daddy say, oh, let's get a baby here. It's not because of that. It says, but a birth that comes from God. So he goes back. So the Word became human and made his home among us. He was full of unfailing love and faithfulness. And we have seen his glory, the glory of the Father's one and only Son. He goes on to say in verse 17, for the law was given through Moses, but God's unfailing love and faithfulness came through Jesus Christ. No one has ever seen God, but the unique one who is himself God is near to the Father's heart, and he has revealed God to us. So John is talking about Jesus, but he's not just talking about that baby who was born in a manger. He wants to introduce us to Jesus, the eternal one. Jesus, the God-man, the one who was, who is, and who will forever be. So we need to understand that Jesus is more than a baby, right? Jesus is more than that character from the Christmas storybooks. No, he said, he is since the beginning. He was with God. Because of him, everything that we know existed. Now, let me take you to a different story, all right? Everybody knows Genesis, so pretty easy to locate. So we're going to go to Genesis chapter 3. And this is right after the fall. Like, there was Adam, right? And there was Eve. And there was this tree that we were not supposed to touch. Remember that? And there was a fruit. And God told them, don't eat it. Like, you have this garden, right? You have, I don't know, Kroger. It's open up for you. Just grab everything. Whatever you want. Just don't pick from this basket right here. And what we did, we went to that basket, right? We shouldn't, but that's what happened. So, the Bible tells that Eve, of course, had to be a woman, right? Come on. Exactly. Don't get mad. Don't get mad. So, the woman started a conversation with Satan, the serpent. And what happened is that the first lie came. Like, no. Like, I guess you misunderstood God. It's not that he doesn't... You're not really going to die if you eat the fruit. God just doesn't want you to. Because if you do, you're going to become like him. And he was like, yeah. Like, it's pretty cool being a girl. But being God, that sounds nice. So, she ate from the fruit, right? And then, not satisfied with that, he tricks the innocent man, of course. And, right, guys? Innocent. Exactly. And so, she shares the fruit with the man, with Adam. So, both of them did what they were not supposed to do, right? They failed. Like, that's the first vlog on fail. Like, Adam and Eve, right? First post. Like that. So, they missed it. And then God came, right? And said, hey, guy, what happened? And the guy very gentleman as he was, said, it was the girl, right? Really, like, that wasn't me, man. It was the girl that you gave to me, so you messed it up. And then it goes to the woman, like, okay, girl, what happened? And so we pick up on Genesis 3, and then God tells the woman, what have you done? And can we read forward? It says, it was the serpent. So very quickly, the girl picks up the teaching. The guy blames me, so I'll blame the serpent. So it was the serpent. He tricked me, so I ate. I'm the victim. So God tells the serpent, what you have done carries great consequence. So first thing we need to understand here, guys, whatever you do has consequences, good or bad, okay? Now you are cursed more than cattle or wild beasts. You will writhe on your belly forever, consuming the dust out of which man was made. I will make you and your brood enemies of the woman and all her children. And this is the first promise of redemption to humankind. Alright? It says, the woman's child will stump your head, and you will strike his heel. This is the first announcement of Jesus. Right there, in the Garden of Eden, the first prophecy came from God, telling the humankind, you guys messed it up, but I love you so much that I'm going to give you redemption. You will have a child, and from you a child will come that will stomp over the snake's head. And it says, and the next, yes, you will bite him, you will hurt him. That's why Jesus had to taste death. But at the end, Jesus conquers. He stomps the snake's head and kills it. And I remember, I love that scene from the movie The Passion. There's this scene, I think it's in the beginning of the movie, that Jesus is praying in the garden, and it's amazing. If you haven't watched that, go ahead and watch that. Jesus is praying, and this snake is like this big snake, of course, like shh.
But I thought it had legs.
Yeah. Right, but in the movie, like this, it's cursed, so it no longer has legs. It's just going as snakes does, because it was cursed right here. So in the movie, it's Jesus' time, so it's already done. There's a curse. So the snake is sneaky, right? And you can see the snake right there, and Jesus is praying and praying and praying, and then he stoops up, and the snake is just right there. I love it because the snake is like, trying to be scary, and Jesus, again, this is in the movie, right? It's just like, boom, very dramatic, crushes the snake's head. And to me, when I saw that in the movie, like, oh, awesome! Because that's Genesis 3 right there. And I love Mel Gibson for doing that. Like, dude, you're awesome.
Is that real actors?
Yeah, like the movie. Like, I don't know if that was a real snake or not, but it looks real, and that's good enough for me. And crushes the snake. And to me, again, that's Genesis 3 right there. It's the promise. Like, Jesus, like, that's it. You're done. I beat you. So that's Jesus. That's the Word. The same Word we read in John 1st, who was since the very beginning, fulfilling the promise from Genesis 3. So it all connects together, right? And then I love this. On 1 Corinthians, the Apostle Paul takes all that together, this story from Genesis, and he teaches us, okay, sin entered the world because of sin. And who sinned? Adam, right? Adam, he tasted the fruit. Now, you might say, but wasn't it Eve? there's a lot of teaching right here, but let me try to unpack that real quickly. Yes, even grabbed the food. And yes, Eve had this conversation with the serpent. But the Bible teaches us that Adam was there the whole time. And what was he doing? Nothing. So sinning is not only when you do something, sometimes it's also when you don't do what you were meant to do. It's like, for example, you are witnessing how somebody is beating up or molesting, not molesting, molesting is the bad part, like just bothering your friend or your baby brother or your baby sister, right? And they're just like, you know, being mean like that. And you're witnessing the whole thing and you do nothing. You just look away and walk away. I mean, you were not punching your brother or sister or your friend. You were not hitting them, but you didn't do nothing to defend them. For example, something like, I'm going to go more hardcore here. You learn or you hear about someone molested your friend or your cousin or, you know, someone that you know. And you just find out, like, someone did this ugly thing to your friend. And instead of, you know, talking about it, instead of going to your teachers or going to your mom and dad or going to your cousins or friends or whoever's mom and dad or going to the authorities and tell, like, you know what? This person molested this other person. Instead of saying that, you remain quiet.
What if it was a long time ago?
Whatever. I mean, whenever it happened, you know it happened. And no one has done anything about it, even if it was like last year. But still, nobody did anything. And today, this friend of yours is confessing, you know what? This happened to me. Like, I don't know, I was at a party and someone raped me. Or I was in this party and they bullied me. Or they, I don't know, whatever it is. Or they offered me drugs and they drugged me and I didn't want it to, but they forced me. Or they got me drunk and I didn't want it to. Whatever it is, right? But this person comes clean and confesses to you something that is horrendous. And instead of you saying like, no, this is not cool. Like, this has to stop. And instead of you going and saying like, you know what, maybe I cannot do much, but this cannot stay like that. And I'm going to tell. Not like I'm going to tell like a little baby. No, I'm going to go whoever I need to go. I'm going to go to the cops, or I'm going to go to the principal, or I'm going to go to my mom and tell someone this happened and this is not okay. And instead of doing that, you just remain quiet. So those things keep happening. Then you're sinning. Like, you're not the one doing it, but by neglecting it, by not doing anything, you're permitting it. So that's what happened here. Yes, Eve had this conversation with the serpent. Yes, Eve took the fruit first, but Adam was there sitting doing nothing. And he knew better, because he knew God told him, don't do that. But he permitted it for whatever reason. So the person who sinned first was Adam, because Adam, till this point, could have prevented that from happening if he got involved. If he said, hey, serpent, no, God said this, and we will do whatever God said. He could have prevented it, but he didn't. So Adam sinned first. So Paul picks up here, and in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 45, he says, that's why it was written, the first man, Adam, became a living soul, right? Because God breathed His Spirit to him, so he came alive. The last Adam has become a life-giving spirit. And he's making this comparison. Adam, and then the second Adam is Jesus. The first Adam was born in the flesh. God took dirt dust and created him. The second Adam, Jesus, came straight from heaven. So he's saying, so the first guy became a living soul. The second Adam is the one that gives life. Everything has an order. The body is not animated first by spiritual, but the physical. Then the spiritual becomes its life-giving source. The first man, Adam, came from the earth and was made from dust. The second man, Jesus, has come from heaven. The earth man, that's us, shares his earth nature with all those made of earth. Likewise, the heavenly man shares his heavenly nature with all those made of heaven. And this is what's so important. All of us, we are earth people. We come from people, right? From Adam, we're descendants from the first guys. So you're just sinful nature as everyone else. But when you come alive in Jesus, that's why the Bible says that we are born again. Remember, we have been talking about this. That when you come to Jesus, you die. Your sinful nature dies, and then you rose up again with Jesus like a new creation. Your past is gone. Everything is made new. You know, we sing about this, and we have spoken about this in Ephesians. So, in Jesus, we are born again. Not from a manly nature, but from a heavenly nature. That's why Jesus is so relevant. First thing first, through Jesus, everything was created. Then we fall. We sin. But God spoke the first prophecy and says, a man will come from you, woman, that will crush Satan and will restore everything. And then Paul is saying, that man that was to come is Jesus. John says that again. The Word, who was God, came to this world. That is Jesus. So when he went to the cross and he died on the cross, he took all of our sin and he died and he buried with him all of our nature, all of our sin. And when he came back from death to living, he rose up with this new nature, this perfect nature. He defeated the devil. He crushed his head. He killed it. He fulfilled the promise from Genesis 3. So we are no longer slaves to sin. So in him, we have this new nature. So now we don't have to die. We don't have to die as a sinful man and be still bound to that pact, to that fallen nature. Okay, we are sinners, we die sinners, so we go to hell. No, all of our debt was paid on the cross. So that's the game changer. So people in the times of Jesus, they were expecting that guy from Genesis 3. So through the scripture, you hear about the Messiah, and you hear all these prophets. Oh, the Messiah, and he will set us free, and he will set the captive free, and he will do this, and he will heal the blind, and he will heal the sick, and he will set the captive free, and everybody's expecting the Messiah. And through history, everybody's like, oh, where's the Messiah? Where's the Messiah? Oh, there's a sign here, there's a sign there. Oh my, the time is coming. But then, you read the Old Testament, and then you get to the last book, and then boom, that's it. Nothing happened. Like between the last book in the Bible, in the Old Testament, and then the first book in the New Testament, there's 400 years, give or take, of silence. Like nothing happened. Imagine this prophet comes up and prophesied, yeah, and to the people, it was like, if there is a prophet, that means God is there. Yeah, we might have troubles, we might have issues, but God is there. There's a prophet. So there's hope. And then nothing. This prophet dies, and no other prophet comes. No one. One generation passes, no prophet. And everybody's like, what's going on? Then another generation, and no prophet. And then 50 years passes, and the kids grow old and start dying, and there's no prophet. And then their kids start growing up and die, and no prophet. And so on and so on. And 400 years passes, and nothing. And everybody's like, oh my God, what happened? That's it? Are we doomed? Did God forsaken us? And then John the Baptist, he comes, and he starts talking again about the Messiah. So people's hopes start racing up. They're like, oh my God, he's talking. There's a prophet right there. And everybody starts getting excited. And that's why it says, if you read the gospel, and it says that John the Baptist went to the river and start talking, and there's one that is coming behind me, whose shoes I'm not even worthy to tie. And he's coming not to baptize you in water, but with fire. And everybody's like, oh my God. He's coming. He's real. God is talking again. And everybody's like fired up. And John the Baptist, he was a rock star, man. Like, he was in the river, and the river was like filled with people. Like, imagine the Minute Park. Like, we've been there, right? There's a concert, and people is like everywhere. Imagine that. John the Baptizer at the river, and the river is filled with people like just waiting to hear from him. And the message was awful. It was like, you bunch of snakes, you're awful. And everybody's like, yeah! It's like, whoa, what's going on here? And they're like, you're a bunch of sinners. And they're like, yes, I'm a sinner. But there's hope. And they're like, yeah! And it's like, what's wrong with these people, man? Like, this guy just yelling at them. And they're like, yeah, keep yelling at me. They're like, yeah, why? Because they were excited. Because imagine, like, nobody said nothing. And then this guy just comes up and reminds everyone, God is here. God is paying attention. So everybody's like, yes, yell at me. I don't care. Like, yes, keep yelling at me. Remind me how bad I am. That's okay. And remind me that there is hope. And remind me that there's one coming. That God didn't forsake us. That promise is still real. And then Jesus comes up. And he walks that same river. And then John the Baptist freaks out. And he's like, look, that's him. That's the guy I've been telling you about. And everybody's like, whoa, who? The guy? And Jesus just walking. Just a guy. But he's not just a guy. He's the God-man. And John says, like, this is the guy. And then Jesus is like, dude, it's okay. Baptize me. And John the Baptist is like, no way, dude, you baptize me. It's like, no, you have to do this. Just remember, it is written. So we have to do what God says. And John was like, all right, I'll do it. Like, imagine, like, you get to baptize Jesus. And I'm like, awesome. Like, this is Jesus. Like, sometimes we get excited when we get close to an artist. The other day, Andrea, she was telling me the story about, okay, who has seen The Walking Dead? TV show, series? Cool. Okay, a few of you. Awesome. You know Shane, right? The cop? Shane? That guy walks into the Starbucks where Andrea works. And everybody's like, that guy looks like Shane. And there's this guy, and he's like, everybody's like talking, nobody's saying nothing, because what if he's not? But everybody, like, all the baristas are like, hey, Shane. And then one guy's like, okay, I can't have this anymore. And he walks to the guy like, hey, dude, sorry. Anyone has told you that you look like Shane? And the guy starts laughing like, yeah, I'm Shane. And like, no way! And everybody starts taking pictures, like, hey, take a picture of me. And everybody starts taking pictures with her. And then they're showing me the picture, like, this, like,
She gave it to
yeah, she has a picture of the guy. And everybody like, take a picture with the dude, and the dude's like, and imagine, like, that's a dude, yes, he's an actor, he's cool and everything, but he's an actor. Imagine John the Baptizer, like, dude, I get to baptize Jesus, like, oh my God, it must be awesome. And like, Jesus, once I do that, can you sign my t-shirt or something? Like, imagine, I don't know, it must be pretty cool. So John the Baptizer does that. He dunks Jesus. And then Jesus comes out from the water. And the Bible says that the sky is open. And there's, said, the Spirit comes like a dove. And just rests on Jesus' shoulder. And there's a voice. I imagine the voice of God that says, "This is my Son, in who I am well pleased." Like, imagine that intro. Like, have you ever been in a concert and there's this opening band? And they're like, and everybody keeps yelling the name of the real band, like, I don't know, whatever your favorite band is, or whoever is, you know. And everybody like, boo, just get off the stage, man, let the other guy comes. And I know, but sometimes it happens, right? Or sometimes, like, the band goes out, and then all the lights go down, right? And then all these lights start shooting, and smoke starts coming out of it. And everyone's freaking out, and then boom, the stage just lights on, and the band's like, and everyone's like freaking out, and the girls start like screaming, and people start passing away. Like, that's a cool opening, right? Like, imagine this: Jesus is walking on the stage, sky's open, the Holy Spirit comes like a dove. And then God Himself speaks. "This is my Son, who I am well pleased." How's that like a big opening? And that's Jesus. That's Jesus. That's the Jesus that everybody fell in love with till today. And that's the guy we will keep talking all this time. Are you guys excited about that? Alright? This was just an intro. Next week, next week we're not going to be here because we're going to be on the Thanksgiving thing. But then,
This was an intro?
Yeah, an intro not for today, an intro for the series.
Oh.
Don't worry, man. We're going to go downstairs right now. But in the next following weeks, we're going to talk about certain characteristics of Jesus and why everybody loved Him. Okay? So let's go downstairs. If possible, stay here or let's come up a few minutes and we'll talk about what's coming next. Alright? So let's go downstairs and we'll be right up.